Hey everybody, GibbTV. All right, so we're in the middle of what would be our April break. We're keeping going as a team. We took it a little easy on you this week as far as requirements. So we just put up that bingo board and it looked like a lot of fun. I've done a few of them myself and I'm getting some from everybody else. So do the bingo board. You know, if you want to do the whole thing, that's cool. Any questions, you can email any of us depending on the subject area. And you know, we'll pick it up a little bit heavier next week as far as work. As far as what's going on, it looks like we're going to be online till at least the end of the month. So we're going to start marking period 4 online. We'll see if we come back. But I just wanted to say, hey, I'm here and I'm going to do something for enrichment today. It's something that was going on during the Great Depression that still is around now. So I'm going to introduce you to a topic, and you've probably heard this before. It's called Social Security. And what is it? How does it work? And, you know, why was it created? So just sit back here. I'm going to give you a little bit of this, and then we'll do something a little interesting after that. Okay, so Social Security. In 1936, Franklin Roosevelt and the Brain Trust, those really smart advisors of his, responded to a lot of criticism that certain people were being left out of the New Deal. They were putting a lot of people back to work, but there were some holes that needed to be filled as far as problems. One was the elderly. It used to be that you lived with your family when you got old, and they took care of you, and you know, many times your own kids helped you later in life. When the Depression hit and there wasn't enough money to feed the regular family, taking care of the parents was hard, and a lot of people had lost savings in the banks, and also didn't save a lot. There was a lot of spending and a lot of debt and stuff like that we talked about in the 20s. Anyway, Social Security is created as a the sun is changing. Anyway, Social Security was created as what they call a safety net, something to catch you if you fall. And to give you my explanation, basically the government is going to force you to save for your retirement. If you work at a paycheck job, they're going to take out money every check that you make, and you're not going to be able to get it back until you're at least 62 years old. Now, it covers retirement, okay, and it's called a pension, but you're not going to be able to touch that money until you're 62 years old. So it's kind of forcing you to save to the point where, you know, when you get older and you need money, it'll be there for you. You won't be a burden on your children. You'll have enough money. Hopefully by then your own kids have grown and your house is paid for, and you know, your needs are a little bit less. So that's really the whole idea of Social Security. Let's break it down though and be very specific about what it is. Well, Social Security sets up something called a pension. A pension is an amount of money set aside for you when you retire, but you don't get it all at once. It's not like a huge bundle of cash. It is divided over the rest of your life every month. And they also, with that money, use it to help people who become unemployed. Right now in this country, there's a lot of talk about the unemployed, and a lot of people, millions, have lost jobs because malls have closed, and you know, restaurants and things like that, Sky Zone. So unemployment insurance is part of Social Security. They're taking money from everybody's paycheck and they're keeping it in Washington. Now, that is a second group of people. So you have retirees, you have people who are unemployed, and then you have workers or children with disabilities. Sometimes during your working career, something happens to you and you can't work anymore. All right, and that's called you know, a disability, and the government will pay you some money. You won't probably ever be able to get a job again, but the government will pay you some money that was taken out of this bundle of money set aside for problems. Other is children with disabilities. You know, some babies are born blind. Some babies are born with a tremendous amount of need that they're going to have that a regular family can't afford. So that's what it is as well. So who is considered disabled? It really depends on government and the doctors. They get together and they say, yeah, you know, this guy can't work and these are the reasons. It can be mostly physically disabled, and in some cases it can be mentally. So Social Security is a big bunch of money. Now, take a look at this pie chart, and you can see that most of the money goes to that big blue piece of pie, It's almost 3/4 of the pie, and that says retired workers. Then you've got 12.5% in purple and 15.9% in red, and those are disabled workers and, let me peek, survivors. In other words, if you are a parent and you die, unfortunately, and you have kids that are under the age of 18, they can get some of your Social Security that you've put away your entire life. So it's kind of interesting. It's like this big pile of money that's usually for retirement, but also for disability and unemployment and things like that. But if you don't use all the money you put in, let's say you die young and you don't have any children, the government keeps it. So in many ways, people think it's like forced savings, but you can't leave it to anybody unless they're your child or possibly your spouse. So there's a little controversy about it. Let me just go over the numbers. 6.2% of what you earn is sent to Washington, D.C. and put in your account. Your Social Security number, that 9-digit number, is your account. It basically keeps track of what you've put in there. Now, 6.2% comes from you. Another 6.2 comes from your employer. So if you work for the movies over at the movie tavern, you put in 6.2 of your check, and then the movie tavern matches that, and it goes to Washington. It's usually not going to come back to you until you retire, which has to be at least 62 years old. Okay? Many people go later than that. But when you're 62, you can start receiving monthly checks from Social Security until you die. If you live longer than the amount of money you put in, it's like bonus money. You get somebody else's. But if you don't ever collect all your money and have no survivors, it just stays in the pot and pays for other people's stuff. So it's social. It's like we all kind of put our money together. We don't always get what we put in. Sometimes people get more or less. It can be an area where some people don't think it's fair. What if you're self-employed? What if you teach piano lessons? Or what if you're an artist? You can still be in the Social Security, but you've got to put in the 6.2% for you, and you have to put in the 6.2% because you're like your own employer. In other words, you have to put in 12.4% of what you made every month. All right, so that's how that works. I just wanted to kind of explain that. There's a little graphic right here that shows it. You pay 6.2, employer pays 6.2. It's sent to what's called the trust fund. It's sort of like a giant bank account, and the way we keep track of it is those Social Security numbers. Those numbers are important. That's not a number you want to give to other people. They have access to possibly your Social Security money, but also it's also like an identity check. In many ways, that number is important. So here's a couple of posters from the New Deal showing Social Security for the American family, for the retirees, for a spouse if the husband dies early, and especially for children if a parent dies and the child is under 18, then there's money there for them. Okay. Here's one final thing I wanted to show you as far as a chart. This is interesting because you got to do the math. And the older you wait to take your retirement, the more you get a month. So if you take a look at this chart, at 62, you get $1,645 a month for the rest of your life. If you wait until 67, 68, 60, look at those numbers go up. So you got to do the math. If you're in good shape and you're still working and you like your job, don't retire at 62. You'll get more per month the longer you wait. Okay, so there's some math involved, and it's something that I'm going to have to make a decision of in the next next decade or two. We'll see how long I go. Anyway, that's it. How do you know it's getting taken out of your paycheck? Well, here's a paycheck from one of my kids. I'm not going to tell you who, I'm not going to tell you their number, but you can see that they made money, $1,920.63. Number 2 up there is that the federal government took $95.14. That's taxes. Down at the bottom there, state, $34.16. And then I see number 4. It says Social Security tax withheld, $119.08. That's what gets sent in your bank account for that check. And you know, it's there for you in the future. Many people love that idea. It kind of forces people to save, and that way they're not a burden on society or families. But other people say, you know, I mean, I don't want the government taking my money. Maybe I could take that 6.2% and put it in the stock market, or use that as my choice as to how to save it for retirement. Okay, so there we go with Social Security. I'll attach a few videos, and I just wanted to include that as a topic. Okay.
Funny faces in sunny places, being in love, it feels so great. And all I need is 2 ingredients, my buttercup in the perfect place. Me and you, here's what we'll do, walk hand in hand into lover's land. You're the best, and I can't resist a kiss on the lips. Don't talk, just watch the world go by as we float away in slow motion. So special, it's so special. You are the girl